Suzy Wrong. Joy Drive with Dean Warren's film, TV and theatre reviewer.
Suzy Wrong, welcome back to Joy Drive. Hey Suzy, can I just say it was so lovely to come up to Sydney and actually meet you in person, because we've been speaking with each other for 6 months now, and to have a little dinner by the water. What a lovely thing to do.
It must be criminal to have 3 beautiful radio people. Radio people are not meant to have such beautiful faces.
I know. It's a crime, isn't it? What a waste.
And you looked fabulous. And of course, we went to see Fun Home. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes. Alison is a cartoonist at her drafting table, looking back at memories of her difficult father. Bruce was a baby boomer, and like many LGBTQIA people of that generation, he never quite came to terms with being gay. Even as Alison began to come out herself as lesbian, his personal anguish never diminished, struggling even to offer support to his own daughter at a time when she had needed him most. Fun Home is a Broadway musical in the conventional sense. It engages our emotions with sentimental songs and a moving story. But I do feel that revelations about Bruce's transgressions involving underage boys, as well as his inability to sufficiently care for his own queer child, make for a show that leaves quite a sour aftertaste. To be fair, there are delightful moments that stick in your mind. I mean, who doesn't like adorable children doing a little bit of 70s disco dancing? But overall, this wasn't quite my cup of tea.
I was surprised by that. I read your review the morning after, and well done you. You were the first out with the review. I absolutely loved it, and I loved not just musically, but I liked the story. I hadn't focused, and I think we talked about this, Warren. I hadn't focused on that aspect until you mentioned that, Suzy. The concept of him having underage homosexual lovers hadn't presented as an issue for me. I was more focused on the story of Alison growing up.
And I just want to add too, this is coming to Melbourne, so...
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Look, you know what I really loved about it? How good to have the opportunity to go back and observe yourself as a kid. I mean, you know, the opportunity to give yourself that understanding and kindness, which is what was happening in this story, and to not be so harsh on ourselves, which is what, you know, time does, doesn't it? Over time, we look back, we go, oh, I remember, you know, my dad told me off about this and I'm still angry about it. But imagine if you could go back and you could see that all playing out again. How therapeutic would that be? I loved it about the whole play. I thought it was just absolutely amazing.
I also think Lucy Maunder playing the current day, the older Alison, the love that she feels and the way that she cares for her younger selves, the middle and younger versions of herself. You could see
the facial expressions too, Dee, and you could see that real, oh, you poor kid. When I was a kid, that happened to me, and she did it brilliantly.
A lot of the genius of Lucy Maunder in this, I'm not sure if you agree, Suzy Wrong, is that she's obviously musically very talented and accomplished, but she has to do a whole lot of face acting, a lot of sympathetic face acting, which I think she does brilliantly. So you sort of forget she's on stage until you look to see what...
And she starts singing too. Her voice is beautiful.
I think the performances were really exceptional. I think all of them were brilliant, including the father that I hated.
And I have
you meant to hate him, though. You know, it's not a sympathetic character.
I just found, it's interesting to hear that didn't get in the way of it. I just, maybe it has to do with my own personal relationship with, a father who's difficult. But maybe it was a personal thing that jarred for me.
Isn't that a nice thing about having a musical that addresses we should probably also mention that it addresses the issue of death and perhaps death by suicide. So there's a lot of heavy stuff in there, but that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is that emotional abuse and neglect. And so there's some heavy issues, but I'm not going to shy away from that and say I don't like something because it challenges me in that way, and I'm not suggesting that you do. I just thought, it's not a sort of romp through the woods kind of musical with great blaring show tunes. It's beautifully nuanced, I think, in terms of its musicality. I like the way it's constructed, and it does tug at your heartstrings.
And Marina Pryor played the mother brilliantly. And I just have this thing about Marina Pryor's voice. As soon as she starts singing, I get completely mesmerised. Her voice is absolutely beautiful. And the acting was fabulous as well. And
It is so hard to place Marina Pryor in the middle of a show and not just let everyone pale by comparison.
And they didn't pale. This is the thing. Everyone else was really good, and I thought that worked really well. Something I loved, and I wouldn't normally notice this, was the lighting in particular, and I don't want to spoil it, but the truck scene.
Yeah.
I felt like I was right in the middle of that scene. He did, and I thought, wow, my heart was racing when that happened, and I thought, wow, that's just brilliant the way that's done.
Yeah, the lights were brilliantly done. There were lots of moments where they kind of travel through time, and then you're uncertain: are they in today or were they yesterday? And those uncertain moments, they were just kind of suspended in time, and you really got a sense that they were floating all over the darkness. I love those moments.
Also, let's not forget I know that the queers run the musical theatre in the world, and that queers are a big part of musical theatre, but to have queer lives as the central focus of a musical theatre piece is extraordinary and should be welcomed.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I was so looking forward to going in and watching something that I thought maybe this time it might be something about me. And I guess it is, but I still don't understand sort of structurally what it is that sort of made it so hard for me to get into the story. Maybe it was too close to the bone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Adam Murphy, who played the father, I thought was wonderful as well. And I couldn't help but think throughout it invoked this saying, behind anger there's always hurt. And you could see that being portrayed in his role as well. And despite, the things you say, there were all these things going on behind his wife's back and what have you, there was a lot of hurt and behind it. And that was coming across really strong for me.
Yeah. And I think internalised homophobia in all its guises is powerful, and has to be addressed. And I think this does it really well. Can I just give a special shout out? I think Maggie McKenna as middle Alison it's an extraordinary performance. Like, she's such a talent.
I reckon all the Allisons were great. And imagine getting yourself Dee Mason now,
Cute.
little Dee Mason,
adorable,
and teenage Dee Mason, and being able to get yourself
she was a shit.
together. I just thought, I was thinking the whole time I was watching it, I was thinking, I would love to be able to do that. How good would that be?
Yeah.
It is one of those things that I hear people do in therapy, right?
Yes, exactly.
You kind of revisit your child and sort of talk to your child as the person that you are now, and be a lot more generous than you ever were with your past. And you're right, that's very powerful, actually.
Have you read the comic, what is it, a graphic novel, the graphic memoir that it's based on?
No, I haven't.
No, see, I think I might dig that out because I think it might help to inform it again. I don't know. I thought it was a wonderful piece. Maybe it's just nice to be out in the theatre again, but I loved the music. I loved the performances. The staging I thought was brilliant. And yeah, there might be some problematic stuff there, but, that's not something that I don't want to look at something just because it challenges me in terms of that stuff. And it's just nice to have a gay plot line in a musical.
And you're right, Susie, they took what does happen in some therapy sessions and put it on stage, and I just thought that was brilliantly done. I loved it. I can't wait for it to come down to Melbourne. I don't know when
MTC's got it in January,
so when it comes out we can all go and see it. Susie Wrong, I'm very much looking forward to asking you what our homework is, and the reason is because I think there's two things at the moment that it could potentially be, but I'm really hoping at some stage it is something beginning with the letter P.
Oh,
I was wondering is there any point in us going back and talking about Pose again? We've been talking about it all year, really.
Why would we go back? What's happening?
Because something exciting's happening.
Is there another season?
Well, because the new season has started. I saw it last night and I cried for like 2 hours. It is sensational. It's incredible. I don't know if we can add any more to the discussions, but I suppose we could. We could do 2 shows like we used to do. Let's talk a little bit about Pose since we are going to be watching it anyway.
Okay.
Yep.
And something I dug out that was fairly interesting is something called Ride or Die. It's a new Japanese film currently streaming on Netflix featuring lesbians on the loose.
Oh. Sounds like D.
It does, doesn't it?
What's it called?
Yeah.
Ride or Die on Netflix, and Pose, of course, is on Binge. Oh, I
Right.
can't
And
wait
if you
to watch
haven't
it.
watched Pose already, you need to go back and review. Not you,
Absolutely.
Susie. I'm not talking to you because I know you've seen it already. For
I
those,
definitely have seen it. I've seen it twice, and then these new episodes, I probably will see them a couple more times because they were just incredible.
I'm interested because I haven't seen you show emotion, and you said you cried all the way through it.
Yeah, in the privacy of my own home.
How many times does Suzy Wrong say, left me cold?
Left me cold.
And then, after about 5 minutes of chat, she goes, maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know. Yeah, but, maybe. About this time of every Tuesday, we get a text in saying, what are you talking about with Suzy? So I will repeat it. Fun Home, directed by Dean Bryant, is on at the Rosalind Packer Theatre with Sydney Theatre Company until the end of May. And then it's heading to Melbourne in January 2021 with the MTC. For more information on the current performance, head to sydneytheatre.com.au. Suzy Wrong, we will see you next Tuesday.
And it was
See you next Tuesday.
It was worth travelling up for as well. So you
I'm
get
really
cheap
looking
flights at the
forward to
moment.
us seeing a show together again. That was really nice.
Absolutely.
fun.
Let's
Well-
do it again in a few weeks' time. And the homework for next week, Pose on Binge. I'm so excited to see it. And Ride or Die on Netflix.
Thanks, Suzy.
See you next Tuesday.